On the edge of the great Mwenda forest, where the ancient baobabs whispered secrets to the wind, there was a small, forgotten village named Ngoma. This was a place of storytellers and weavers, where every thread and tale carried the weight of generations. Yet, despite its charm, it was a village that had turned its back on one of its own. Kima, the youngest daughter of the late hunter Kolo and his widowed wife, Awiti, was an enigma. Her birth had been marked by an ominous eclipse, and the village elders whispered that she carried the shadow of misfortune. A child born when the sun hides from the earth cannot bring light, they muttered. And so, from her earliest days, Kima was shunned. Her thin frame and fiery eyes earned her no allies, and the rumors only deepened when crops failed or livestock went missing. "It's that cursed girl," villagers spat, and Kima grew used to the sting of their words. Her siblings, too, distanced themselves, for fear of being tainted by association. Kima's only solace lay in the forest. There, among the rustling leaves and the symphony of birds, she found a strange kind of peace. But even this peace was tinged with pain, for hunger followed her like a shadow. With her family struggling to make ends meet, Kima was often left to fend for herself, scavenging for roots and wild fruits. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the horizon with hues of gold and crimson, Kima ventured deeper into the forest than she ever had before. She was chasing a hare, a rare treat she hoped to bring back to her family, but the hare was cunning and led her far from familiar paths. As darkness fell, Kima realized she was lost. The air grew colder, and the forest seemed alive with unseen eyes and faint whispers. Then, as she stumbled through the underbrush, she saw it, a faint, flickering light. Curiosity, stronger than fear, pulled her toward it. The light came from a small, crumbling hut covered in vines. Smoke curled lazily from its chimney, and the scent of herbs hung in the air. Inside, an old man with skin like weathered bark sat by a fire, grinding roots in a mortar. His eyes, though clouded with age, sparkled with an otherworldly brilliance. "You're late," the old man said without looking up. "Late?" Kima stammered, clutching her meager sling. "Yes, child. Sit. You've wandered far, and the forest does not forgive carelessness." Reluctantly, Kima obeyed. The man introduced himself as Nugu, the forgotten seer of the Mwenda forest. He spoke in riddles and laughed at her confusion, but there was kindness in his voice. He offered her a bowl of stew, and as she ate, he began to tell her stories, of gods and monsters, of trials and triumphs. When she had finished, he handed her a small, carved gourd filled with a thick, golden liquid. "Drink this when the world feels heaviest," he instructed. "But remember, child, every gift comes with a price." Before Kima could ask what he meant, Ndugu waved her away, and she found herself standing at the edge of the forest, her village just visible in the distance. Life in Ngoma did not change immediately. Kima still faced scorn, and her family still struggled. But strange things began to happen. One morning, she found a patch of coins hidden under her mat. Another time, a drought-stricken patch of cassava she had tended alone suddenly flourished. Then came the day when the village chief's son, Mulairo, was bitten by a venomous snake. The villagers were frantic, for no healer could draw the poison out. Kima, remembering Ndugu's god, approached cautiously. "You," the chief's wife scoffed. "What could you possibly do?" But desperation made them relent. Kima poured a single drop of the golden liquid onto Mulairo's lips and watched as his breathing steadied and the swelling subsided. The villagers were stunned. Word of her gift spread, and soon people came to her for help. At first, it was small things, a charm for good luck, a remedy for fever. But as her reputation grew, so did the stakes. And with every success, Kima's confidence blossomed. Yet, not everyone was pleased. A trickster named Jabari, who made his living selling fake remedies, saw his fortunes dwindle as Kima's grew. He began spreading rumors that her power came from dark spirits, feeding the village's old fears. One night, Jabari crept into Kima's hut and stole the gourd, intending to expose her. But when he tried to open it, the liquid turned to ash in his hands, and a terrible wailing filled the air. The villagers, awakened by the noise, found him cowering outside her hut, his hair turned white with fright. Kima emerged, calm and resolute. "Magic is not a toy," she said, taking the gourd back. "It is a burden and a gift, and it demands respect." From that night on, the village began to see her differently. Years passed, and Kima's fame spread beyond Ngoma. She became a healer, a mediator, and a leader, drawing people from far and wide. She used her influence to build schools and wells, ensuring that no child in Ngoma would go hungry or uneducated again. Her family, once ashamed of her, now stood proudly by her side. And when the drought of the century struck, it was Kima who led the effort to save the village, organizing caravans to bring water and food. But Kima never forgot Ndugu's warning. One evening, as she walked through the forest, she found herself once again at the old man's hut. "You've done well," Ndugu said, his voice tinged with pride. "I owe it all to you," Kima replied. "No, child," he said, shaking his head. "You owed it to yourself. The gourd was but a tool. The strength, the wisdom, the courage, all of that was already within you." Kima bowed deeply, tears streaming down her face. When Kima eventually passed, her name became a legend, etched into the songs and stories of Ngoma. She was remembered not just as a healer or a leader, but as a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even those the world cast aside can rise to greatness. And so, in the heart of Muinda Forest, the baobabs continued to whisper. But now, their tales carried the name of Kima, the girl who turned shadows into light. Thanks for watching, please subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Love you guys.